I always thought of Grandma Aurora as an open book, her life a testament to love, laughter, and the warmth that filled every room she entered. Her blue eyes sparkled like a summer sky on a cloudless day, and her hugs had this extraordinary power to heal any pain, any sorrow. She was the pillar of our family, the one who held us together with her wisdom, her joy, and her unwavering support. But little did I know there was so much more to her than meets the eye. As I sit here surrounded by the memories of a lifetime, I'm taken back to the day she passed away. The house was filled with tears, with stories, and with the kind of love that only she could command. But amidst all the grief and the nostalgia, I stumbled upon something that changed everything. Something that shook me to my core and made me question everything I thought I knew about Grandma Aurora, about our family, and about the past. It was hidden in an old wooden box, tucked away in a corner of her attic, a place where memories seemed to breathe through the dusty air. The box itself was unassuming, old and worn, but as I opened it, my fingers brushed against something unexpected: a diary. The cover was made of worn leather, its surface cracked with age, and the pages inside were yellowed, like the pages of an old book that had been read and reread countless times. As I opened the diary, a wave of emotions washed over me. It was as if I had stumbled into a secret life, one that Grandma Aurora had lived but never revealed. The entries were cryptic at first, filled with codes and half-truths, but as I delved deeper, the stories began to unfold. Stories of love, of loss, of sacrifice, and of a legacy that spanned generations. This diary is more than just a collection of pages. It's a gateway to the extraordinary life of Grandma Aurora. It's a testament to the power of love, to the sacrifices we make for those we love, and to the secrets we keep hidden, sometimes even from those closest to us. As I share her story with you, I'll take you on a journey through time, a journey that will unveil secrets of forbidden love, lost treasures, and the kind of legacy that transcends time and circumstance. Over the coming hours, we'll embark on this emotional journey together, one that will take us through the highs and lows of Grandma Aurora's life. We'll explore the choices she made, the paths she took, and the mysteries she left behind. It's a story that will make you laugh, cry, and reflect on the power of love and sacrifice. It's a story about the enduring legacy of a woman who lived an extraordinary life, one that was full of surprises, full of mysteries, and full of love. So let's begin this journey, and let Grandma Aurora's hidden diary be our guide through the twists and turns of her remarkable story. In the late 1930s, nestled in the heart of America, lay the small rural town of Willow Creek, a place where time seemed to stand still, where the air was sweet with the scent of blooming wildflowers, and the sky was a canvas of endless blue. It was here, in this idyllic setting, that young Aurora grew up, her life a gentle dance with nature. The mornings began before dawn, with the family tending to their farm, the earthy smell of freshly turned soil and the promise of a new day hanging in the crisp air. Evenings were spent under starry nights. The family gathered on the porch, sharing tales of adventure and dreams yet to be realized. Aurora, with her vivid imagination and insatiable love for reading, often found herself lost in the pages of a good book. Her room, a cozy attic with a window that framed the sky, was her sanctuary. There she would pore over the words of great authors, her mind wandering to far-off lands and possibilities beyond the rolling hills of Willow Creek. Her parents, hardworking and kind, instilled in her a love for the land and a respect for the simple things in life. Her brother, Thomas, with his aviator dreams, and her little sister, Lily, with her poetic soul, made their home a haven of laughter and creativity. Daily life in Willow Creek was dictated by the seasons and the land. Mornings were for chores, afternoons for school, and evenings for family. The community came together for harvest festivals and town gatherings, where music filled the air, and stories of the past were shared. Aurora participated fully in this life, her heart full of joy and her spirit at peace. Yet within her, a subtle restlessness stirred, a feeling that there was more to life than the familiar rhythms of Willow Creek. It was a gentle yearning, not a rebellious cry, but a quiet whisper that she couldn't quite articulate. As she walked through the fields, feeling the earth beneath her feet and the sun on her face, Aurora's imagination would run wild. She dreamed of adventures beyond the horizon, of meeting people from different worlds, and of making a difference. This inner conflict, a mix of contentment and longing, was a silent companion, one that she couldn't shake off. It was as if she was being called to something but she didn't know what or where. In these moments of quiet reflection, Aurora began to write in a small notebook she kept hidden away. Her thoughts, her dreams, and her fears found their way onto the pages, a way for her to process the world around her and the whispers of her own heart. It was a humble beginning, a simple act of recording her life, but it was in these scribbled lines that the seeds of her future were sown. Little did she know, this quiet life in Willow Creek was about to be shaken by storms that would test her courage, her love, and her very sense of self. As the summer of 1939 waned, the tranquility of Willow Creek began to fray at the edges. News of European tensions seeped into our quiet lives like a chill on an autumn night. My father, Thomas, would gather around the radio with the men from town, their faces aglow with excitement and worry, discussing the rising threat of Nazism. My parents, however, exchanged worried glances, their concern for our safety and livelihood etched on their faces. I was caught between my romantic dreams and the dawning realization of a brutal reality. I recall writing in my diary by lamplight, pouring out my thoughts and fears onto the page, trying to make sense of it all. The words flowed like a river, a jumble of emotions and questions. What was happening to the world? Why did it have to change? It was on one of these evenings, as I walked home from the library, lost in thought, that I noticed a stranger in town. He was standing outside the local diner, dressed in a military uniform, his eyes scanning the street as if searching for someone. There was something about him that drew me in, a sense of difference, of mystery. Our eyes met, and for a fleeting moment I felt a spark of connection. The stranger's name was Elias, and as he introduced himself, I sensed that his arrival in Willow Creek was not mere coincidence. He was not like the other local boys, with their easy smiles and country humor. There was a depth to him, a sense of secrets kept and burdens carried. As we talked, I found myself drawn to his piercing gaze, his quick wit, and his stories of far-off places. He spoke of the world beyond our small town, of cities and mountains, of cultures and ideas. I listened, entranced, feeling the boundaries of my life expand. But even as I basked in the warmth of his presence, I sensed that Elias carried a secret, that his uniform hid more than just his military service. There was an air of danger around him, a whisper of forbidden love and hidden paths. Little did I know Elias's arrival marked the beginning of a journey that would entwine our lives, and the lives of those we loved, in a web of war, sacrifice, and devotion. The peaceful life of Willow Creek was about to be shattered, and I, Aurora, was about to discover a strength and resilience within myself that I never knew I possessed. As the days turned into weeks and the weeks into months, Aurora and Elias's secret meetings became a lifeline, a beacon of hope in the darkness that was slowly enveloping Willow Creek. They'd steal away to the old barn on the outskirts of town, or meet in the sunflower field under the guise of a casual stroll. The world around them seemed to fade into the background as they found solace in each other's company. Their love blossomed quietly, yet powerfully, like a flame that burns brightest in the shadows. Elias, with his piercing eyes and mysterious past, had awakened something within Aurora. She felt seen, truly seen, for the first time in her life. And Elias, in turn, found himself drawn to her light, her laughter, and her unwavering optimism. Their conversations danced around the war, skirting the edges of reality, but in those moments together, they were free. One evening, as they sat together in the barn, the sound of crickets and the soft rustle of the wind through the hayloft, Elias took Aurora's hand and revealed a truth he had kept hidden. "I'm not who you think I am," he said, his voice low and urgent. "I'm a German scientist, a deserter. I came to Willow Creek to find an artifact, an encryption device that could change the course of the war." Aurora's heart skipped a beat. She had suspected there was more to Elias's story, but the reality of his situation hit her like a wave. "What kind of artifact?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Elias's eyes locked onto hers, filled with a deep intensity. "A device capable of encrypting messages so securely, they'd be impossible to decipher. It's said to be hidden somewhere in Willow Creek, and I believe it's the only thing that can prevent the Nazis from gaining an insurmountable advantage." As Elias spoke, the shadows around them seemed to deepen, the air thickening with an unspoken danger. Aurora felt a shiver run down her spine. She had always known that Elias was hiding something, but the stakes were far higher than she could have ever imagined. It wasn't long before their secret was threatened. Strange faces began to appear in town, Men with cold, calculating eyes who seemed to be watching Elias's every move. Aurora noticed them too, their gazes lingering on her with an unnerving intensity. The once peaceful town of Willow Creek was now a hotbed of tension and fear. One night as they explored the ancient labyrinth beneath the old church, the air thick with dust and the smell of decay, Elias revealed that the artifact was hidden within its depths. The clockmaker, his mentor, had left it there, a legacy of resistance against the darkness that threatened to consume them all. Aurora's diary became her closest confidant, a place where she poured out her heart, recording her fears, her love, and her growing determination. As she wrote, she felt a strength rising within her, a resolve to protect Elias, to protect the artifact, and to safeguard her family's future. The diary entries grew more urgent, more desperate, as the danger escalated. Aurora knew she had to act, to take a stand against the encroaching darkness. And so, with Elias by her side, she embarked on a perilous journey, one that would test her courage, her heart, and her very soul. The stakes were high, but Aurora was no longer the same passive observer. She was now an active participant, driven by love, a sense of duty, and a determination to fight against the shadows that threatened to engulf them all. As I reflect on that fateful day, I can almost smell the damp earth and feel the weight of the underground labyrinth's secrets. Elias and I had been searching for what felt like an eternity, our hearts pounding in unison with every creaking stone and shifting shadow. Finally, we stumbled upon the hidden chamber, its entrance guarded by an ancient puzzle that had tested our wit and resolve. The air was thick with tension as we worked in tandem, our hands brushing against each other as we solved the final trap. The sound of clicking mechanisms and the soft hum of machinery filled the air, a symphony of suspense that seemed to crescendo with every passing moment. And then, with a soft thud, the chamber door swung open, revealing the artifact in all its glory. But our triumph was short-lived. The sound of footsteps, heavy and deliberate, echoed through the labyrinth, growing louder with every passing second. Nazi agents, their faces twisted with malice, emerged from the shadows, their guns drawn. Elias instinctively pushed me behind him, his eyes locked on the enemy as he prepared to defend me. The ensuing battle was a blur of chaos and fear, the labyrinth's narrow passages becoming a deadly trap as we fought for our lives. I remember the sound of gunshots, the smell of smoke and sweat, and Elias's voice, calm and steady, as he guided me through the mayhem. I used every trick I had learned from my childhood explorations to evade our pursuers, dodging and weaving through the darkness as Elias covered our retreat. But despite our bravery, Elias was wounded, his body broken and battered. As I watched, helpless and horrified, he was cornered by the enemy, his eyes locked on mine with a desperate plea. I knew in that moment that he would give his life to save mine, to ensure that the artifact would survive to change the course of the war. With a final burst of strength, Elias flung the artifact into my arms, his voice whispering a single word: "Run." I felt a sob rising in my throat as I turned to flee, the sound of gunfire and screams echoing through the labyrinth as I stumbled through the darkness. The weight of the artifact in my arms was crushing, a constant reminder of Elias's sacrifice. I could feel his eyes on me, his love and trust burning brighter than any star. As I ran, the labyrinth's passages blurring together in a chaotic haze, I knew that I would carry Elias's legacy with me for the rest of my life. The diary, once a secret confidant, had become a testament to our love and a reminder of the promise I had made to Elias. I would see this through no matter the cost. The darkness closing in around me seemed to recede as I found a newfound strength, a determination forged in the fire of Elias's sacrifice. I would carry his love and courage with me, a beacon of hope in a world torn apart by war and hatred. And as I emerged into the bright sunlight, the artifact clutched tightly in my arms, I knew that I would never be the same again. As I emerged from the labyrinth, the darkness seemed to swallow me whole. The rain-soaked night air clung to my skin like a damp shroud, mirroring the despair that threatened to consume me. My legs trembled beneath me, as if the very weight of my grief could topple me at any moment. The artifact, now a bittersweet reminder of Elias's sacrifice, felt heavy in my hands, its significance a constant ache in my chest. I stumbled back to my home, a place that once felt like a sanctuary, now a painful reminder of all that I had lost. The familiar creaks and groans of the old house seemed to mock me, a cruel contrast to the silence that had fallen between Elias and me. My family, oblivious to the turmoil that churned within me, welcomed me with open arms, their faces etched with concern. But I couldn't shake the feeling of isolation. Elias's death, now a secret I carried alone, felt like a weight that pressed upon my chest, making it hard to breathe. I forced a smile, a fragile facade that hid the raw pain and shock that threatened to spill over. My parents and siblings noticed the change in me, but I couldn't bring myself to share the truth. How could I explain the depth of my loss, the crushing responsibility that now rested on my shoulders? The diary, Elias's diary, became my sole confidant. I poured my heart onto its pages, the words flowing like tears. I wrote of my grief, of the unbearable loss, of the promise I had made to Elias. The words, as I wrote them, seemed to take on a life of their own, a tangible reminder of the burden I now carried. As the days passed, I struggled to maintain a semblance of normalcy. Family meals became a blur, my thoughts consumed by the artifact and Elias's notes. I began to study the artifact, poring over Elias's writings, seeking to understand its purpose. The local library became my refuge, a place where I could lose myself in books and research. The musty smell of old pages and the whispered silence of the library became a balm to my soul. In those quiet moments, I started to feel a nascent resolve taking shape within me. A determination to honor Elias's memory, to fulfill his mission, began to solidify. It was a fragile flame, flickering in the darkness, but it was enough to guide me forward. I knew that I had a long journey ahead of me, one that would test my courage, my heart, and my resolve. But with the diary as my guide, I felt a sense of purpose, a sense that I was not alone in this quest. Elias's legacy lived on, a beacon of hope in a world torn apart by darkness and despair. As I stepped off the train and into the bustling city, the cacophony of sounds and the sea of faces enveloped me, offering a sense of anonymity I desperately sought. Willow Creek, with its familiar comforts and painful memories, was now a place I'd rather avoid, at least for a while. I had to keep moving, to keep the promise I made to Elias alive. The city, with its towering buildings and winding streets, became my new sanctuary, my new challenge. I settled into a modest apartment, a far cry from the spacious house I grew up in, but it was home. The daily routine was a balm to my soul. A job at a local library, surrounded by books and the quiet murmur of patrons, allowed me to blend into the background. Yet my mind was always elsewhere, poring over Elias's diary, deciphering the cryptic notes and sketches of the artifact. I became a regular at the city's libraries and archives, searching for any mention of the device, of Elias, or of the Nazis' interests. The artifact, Elias's device, was more than I initially thought. It was a key, a tool that could change the course of the war. Elias's notes spoke of its power to decipher enemy codes, to predict strategic movements. I spent countless hours studying, learning, and experimenting, driven by the urgency of our mission. I sought out experts discreetly, careful not to arouse suspicion, and gathered as much information as I could. The diary was my Bible, my guide through the labyrinth of espionage and counterintelligence. As I navigated this new world, I began to transform, to adapt. I learned to observe without being seen, to listen without being heard. I practiced assembling and disassembling the artifact, understanding its intricacies, its potential. I developed skills I never thought I'd need: skills in observation, discretion, and counterintelligence. I became a self-taught agent, driven by necessity and my promise to Elias. I recall one particular instance when I successfully deciphered a coded message left in a book at the library. The message was a simple phrase, but it led me to a hidden cache of documents detailing Nazi troop movements. It was exhilarating, this feeling of being one step ahead, of making a difference. But with each success came a reminder of the danger, of the solitude. I was constantly looking over my shoulder, aware of the Nazi agents still searching for the artifact. One evening, as I walked home from the library, I noticed a man lingering by the entrance of my apartment building. He was tall, with a fedora pulled low over his eyes, and a long coat that seemed out of place in the warm summer air. I quickened my pace, my heart racing as I approached my building. I didn't look back, but I could sense his eyes on me. I swiftly entered my apartment, locked the door, and leaned against it, catching my breath. The city, which had become my refuge, was also a constant reminder of the peril that lurked in every shadow. In those moments of solitude, Elias's memory was my solace. His diary, his words fueled my determination. I was no longer just Aurora, the grieving young woman. I was a guardian of hope, a keeper of secrets, and a warrior in the shadows. The journey was far from over, but I was ready. I had grown, I had learned, and I was prepared to face whatever lay ahead, armed with the artifact, Elias's legacy, and my unwavering resolve. As the war finally drew to a close, Aurora felt a sense of relief wash over her, like the gentle lapping of waves on a tranquil shore. She had done it. She had played her part in the Allied victory, using the artifact to transmit crucial intelligence that had frustrated enemy plans and contributed to strategic victories. The memories of those tense, secretive hours spent in hidden offices, her fingers flying across the radio keys, sending messages that would change the course of history, still lingered vividly in her mind. But now it was time to let go. Aurora had fulfilled her mission, and with the war's end, she felt a sense of quiet satisfaction, a sense of purpose achieved. She began to envision a new beginning, one where she could leave the shadows of war behind and step into a brighter, more peaceful future. Perhaps it was returning to Willow Creek, or a similar haven, where the air was sweet with blooming flowers and the only sounds were the chirping of birds and the laughter of children. As she settled into her new life, Aurora dedicated herself to rebuilding and healing her community. She worked tirelessly, supporting war-affected families, sharing her skills and experience to help others find their footing in a world turned upside down. Her days were filled with the simple joys of helping, teaching, and learning, as she found new purpose in education and community building. The artifact, once a burden, a secret she had carried alone, was now a cherished symbol of Elias and their past. She carefully stored it in a beautiful music box, its melody a reminder of the love and sacrifice that had defined a generation. The music box became a tangible connection to the memories she had kept hidden for so long, a bittersweet reminder of what had been and what could have been. As the years passed, Aurora evolved into the wise, loving grandmother the narrator knew. Her eyes sparkled with a deep understanding, her smile warm and inviting. She embodied wisdom and serenity, her past a part of her, but no longer defining her present struggles. When she sat with her granddaughter, sharing stories and laughter, the depth of her character shone through, a testament to the extraordinary experiences and profound sacrifices she had made. The narrator, looking back, began to understand that Aurora's seemingly simple life had been built upon a foundation of courage, resilience, and love. The diary, now a treasured family heirloom, revealed the complexity of her character, the richness of her story. As the narrator closed the diary, they felt a sense of awe and reverence for the woman who had been their grandmother, a woman whose life had been a testament to the enduring power of love, sacrifice, and hidden legacies. As I sit here, surrounded by the memories of a lifetime, I find myself reflecting on the diary of my grandmother, Aurora. This worn, leather-bound book has been a journey into the very soul of the woman I thought I knew. It's as if I've been given a map to a hidden world, one that reveals the complexities, the struggles, and the triumphs of her extraordinary life. The diary is more than just a historical record. It's a testament to the enduring power of love, sacrifice, and the human spirit. I recall the stories she used to tell me as a child, tales of fairies and heroes, of magic and bravery. I now realize that these stories were not just flights of fancy, but metaphors for her own heroic journey. The fairies were the whispers of hope in the darkness. The heroes were the ordinary people who did extraordinary things. And Aurora, my grandmother, was the embodiment of both. Her life was a testament to the power of silent strength, of wisdom shared through stories, and of unconditional love. As I read through the diary, I began to see her legacy in a new light. It's not just the artifact, the device she fought so hard to protect, or the secrets she kept hidden. It's the way she lived her life with courage and conviction, with compassion and empathy. It's the way she wove her experiences into the fabric of our family's history, leaving behind a tapestry of love, loss, and triumph. I see now that her story is not just hers but mine as well. I see the parallels between her struggles and mine, between her triumphs and mine. I realize that I am not just a product of my own experiences, but also of hers. Her legacy is not just a relic of the past, but a guide for the present. It's a reminder that life is complex, beautiful and multifaceted. As I look back on her story, I feel a sense of peace, a sense of understanding. The diary has become a personal treasure, a guide that I will carry with me for the rest of my life. It's a reminder that our stories, our experiences, and our legacies are not just our own, but also a gift to those who come after us. Aurora's story has taught me that we all have our own hidden stories, our own heroic journeys. And it's only by embracing them, by sharing them, that we can truly understand ourselves and one another. I hope that her legacy will inspire you to discover your own story, to share it with the world, and to leave behind a legacy of love, hope, and courage. As we close the chapter on Grandma Aurora's remarkable story, we're reminded that life is a tapestry woven with threads of courage, love, and resilience. Her journey, marked by secrets, sacrifices, and unexpected discoveries, teaches us that even in the darkest times, hope and determination can lead us to a brighter tomorrow. The hidden diary, a symbol of her enduring spirit, whispers tales of a life lived with purpose and passion. If this story has resonated with you, then its purpose has been fulfilled, for it continues through you, in your own experiences, and in the lessons you've learned. As you reflect on Grandma Aurora's legacy, I invite you to take a moment to subscribe to our channel, to share this story with those who might find solace and inspiration in it, and to leave a like as a token of appreciation. And as you ponder the secrets and stories that lie within your own family, I ask you, what hidden chapter in your own life story are you waiting to uncover? Please, share your thoughts with us in the comments below.